Yeah, but I'm just saying that's how it's gonna go. I don't think that cockroaches are gonna run the world one day. But hey, who am I to judge? That's just what we like to do here on the End of the World as We Know It podcast, where we talk about anything and everything that could possibly happen in the world. But anyway, we're gonna get into a little ad break, so don't mind me really quick, just doing this little ad. This episode of the End of the World podcast is brought to you by Robot Umpires. Robot Umpires. Oh, what a time to be alive. Cars are driving themselves, houses are talking back to the owners, and umpires in baseball are soon going to be out of jobs. We finally made it to the future that movies like Back to the Future Part 2 had envisioned years ago. Isn't it great? The 2010s were great, don't get me wrong, but the 2020s are going to be a whole new ballgame. I, for one, cannot wait until we're a bunch of living things watching robots do everything for us. I'm smiling just thinking about it, honestly. I mean, it's just so nice to think how so soon the world will be run by robots. Another movie that I can't quite put my finger on showed us how awesome it's going to be. What's it called? Oh, yeah, Terminator. The way robots and computers rise up and take over everything is a truly inspiring story. And that's exactly what robot umpires can do. And guess what? We don't have to wait much longer for that to become a reality. Just like how knowing how to drive is becoming less of an importance in order to be in the driver's seat, umpires and referees don't really need to know how to officiate a sport they're a part of. Games that have been around for decades, shaping the way people are entertained around the world, are slowly becoming what did the computer just tell us to do? You know? Personally, I'm loving it. When a baseball game gets delayed 10 minutes at a time, even though the game is already like 3 hours long, just to ask a computer if there was a bad call makes me happy as a clam. I love it, and I'm sure you do too. Don't worry, it isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It's not going anywhere. Robot umpires, that's what we're talking about here. The MLB understands how the world wants robots and computers to run the world, and they're capitalizing on the opportunity. They've come up with a plan to get rid of umpires completely. It's going to be great, I promise. The plan is brilliant. The guys who know baseball inside and out, who've been officiating games for decades, don't need them. All you need is a camera to tell you what's right and wrong. They get to fire hundreds of people, cutting expenses, and they get to make the game as robotic and important as possible. How cool is that? I doubt it stops there, too. If sports across the world are willing to replace refs and umpires, what's stopping them from replacing the players one day? I can see it now. AI learning proper mechanics, never making a mistake. They would never drop a ball. They would never swing and miss. They would never botch a layup or even kick a ball wide of the net. It's just so perfectly boring. No errors, ever, robot umpires. Haven't had enough? Well, let me give you a little more on the inside of these possibilities. How about if one day we as humans are just too lazy to even attend these sporting events? What if we create robots to attend the games for us and we watch on our TVs at home? Doesn't that sound fun? We just watch robots watching robots play games that are officiated by other robots. That's the dream, isn't it? I mean, personally, for me, it is. I don't know about you. To do as little as humanly possible and let the computers, AI, and robots just do it all for us while we sit back and watch. Now, that's a world I'm ready to live in. Robot umpires. But for now, we have to settle for these cars driving for us, beds sitting up for us, and these computers running umpiring baseball games. The future looks bright, though. We could still have robots run the world one day. If we just work hard enough and keep our eyes on the prize, one day we won't have to do anything for ourselves. We can just sit back in our automatic recliner chairs, letting robots do it all. Just like in that one movie, WALL-E. Robot umpires, happily sponsoring the End of the World podcast. We appreciate them as always. And yeah, that's just basically how it goes. The End of the World as We Know It podcast, brought to you by Robot